The day they handed us the Resolute, the galaxy laughed. It wasn't the hearty, friendly laughter of allies. It was the mocking snicker of condescension, an acknowledgment of how far beneath them we were. The Resolute was a gift from the Galactic Accord, a consortium of advanced alien civilizations that had decided humanity was finally mature enough to join their galactic playground. The truth? They didn't see us as equals. We were the class clown. They could jeer at while feeling superior. This ship, the Myvar ambassador announced during the official handover ceremony, represents the Accord's commitment to supporting fledgling species. Her wings shimmered in the station's artificial light, her voice dripping with false magnanimity. May it serve as a stepping stone for your people's enlightenment. The gathered dignitaries and envoys from across the galaxy snickered behind their hands, their voices a murmur of mockery translated through the Accord's universal translators. A stepping stone? More like a stumbling block, someone whispered. Captain Zara Malik, representing humanity as the newly appointed commander of the Resolute, stood tall amid the ridicule. Her dark eyes burned with restrained fury, but she didn't flinch. She accepted the ship's battered command key from the Myvar ambassador with a curt nod and a stiff smile. "Thank you for this opportunity," Zara said. Her words were measured, but the bite in her tone was unmistakable. Behind her, the delegation of engineers, military advisors, and scientists from Earth exchanged uneasy glances. They had hoped for anything that might level the playing field. Instead, they'd been handed a decrepit starship barely holding together. The first time Zara stepped aboard the Resolute, her heart sank. The air was stale and tinged with the acrid stench of burnt circuits. Flickering lights cast uneven shadows across the corroded walls, and the faint hum of the ship's power core sounded more like a dying animal's wheeze than a functioning reactor. "Well," muttered Nico, one of Earth's top mechanics, as he took in the sorry state of the vessel, "this is a piece of junk." He kicked at a loose panel on the floor, and it clattered loudly down the corridor. "It's not just junk," Mei Lin, the chief engineer, said grimly. She was scanning the ship with a handheld diagnostic device. "It's dangerous junk. Half the systems are on the verge of catastrophic failure. The life support is barely holding on, and don't even get me started on the engines. It's a death trap," Nico concluded. Zara crossed her arms, her jaw tightening. "Then we'll make it something else. Something better." "Better? Captain, this thing shouldn't even be in space." "It's a miracle it didn't fall apart on the way here," Mei Lin argued. Zara turned to face her team, her voice firm. "This is what we've been given, and like everything else in our history, we'll make do. The Accord handed us this pile of scrap, expecting us to fail. Let's prove them wrong." Her crew exchanged doubtful looks, but none of them voiced their objections aloud. They knew Zara's reputation. She wasn't just a leader, she was a fighter. If anyone could make the impossible happen, it was her. The work began immediately. Once the Resolute was docked in Earth's orbit, the planet's brightest minds got to work. Engineers, mechanics, and scientists from every corner of the globe poured into the orbital dry dock, armed with tools, blueprints, and boundless determination. "What's the status on the reactor?" Zara asked during one of the many chaotic days in the ship's main engineering bay. "It's ancient," Mei Lin said, crouched beside the pulsating core. "Looks like it's been patched up 100 times with parts from different civilizations. Half of them aren't even compatible with each other. I'm amazed it hasn't blown up yet. Can we stabilize it?" Mei Lin sighed, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "Maybe, if we rip out the non-essential systems and replace them with Earth tech. It won't be pretty, but it might hold." Zara nodded. "Do it. Nico, what about the engines?" "Worse," Nico replied, his voice muffled as he stuck his head into an access panel. "The drive system's a hybrid of at least 3 different designs, none of which play nice together. It's a miracle it doesn't implode every time it fires up. Then we redesign it," Zara said. Nico slid out from under the panel, his face smeared with grease. "Redesign it? Captain, that's not just slapping on a new part. That's rewriting the laws of physics with duct tape and a prayer. Then get the duct tape, Zara shot back. As the weeks turned into months, the Resolute began to transform. Earth's ingenuity was its greatest asset, and when paired with the scraps of alien technology already embedded in the ship, the possibilities were endless. "You know," Mei Lin said one evening as she tinkered with the ship's failing navigation system, "the Accord doesn't expect us to succeed. This ship is their way of putting us in our place." Zara leaned against the wall, watching her team work. "Maybe, but that doesn't mean we can't turn their insult into an advantage. They think we're weak. Let's use that." "What are you thinking?" Mei Lin asked. "I'm thinking this ship is the best weapon we could ever have. No one expects a junk heap to be dangerous. But if we can make it deadly..." A slow grin spread across Mei Lin's face. "You're talking about a Trojan horse." "Exactly." The turning point came when Zara stumbled upon an old Earth proverb. "One man's trash is another man's treasure." It became the unofficial motto of the Resolute's crew. Piece by piece, the ship's systems were overhauled. The reactor was stabilized with Earth-made components. The engines were stripped down and rebuilt into a hybrid design that could outmaneuver even the fastest Accord vessels. The weapon systems, once laughably outdated, were replaced with experimental Earth technologies that had been gathering dust in classified research facilities. By the time the Resolute was ready for its first test flight, it was no longer the same ship. Its exterior still looked battered and rusted, intentionally so. But beneath the surface, it was a masterpiece of human ingenuity and stubbornness. "Let them laugh," Zara said as the ship's engines roared to life for the first time. "They won't be laughing for long." On the day of the Resolute's maiden voyage, Zara stood on the bridge, her crew bustling around her. The ship trembled slightly as it disengaged from the dry dock, its engines humming with newfound power. "Status report," Zara commanded. "All systems green," Mei Lin said, her voice tinged with disbelief. "She's holding together." "Barely," Nico muttered, but he was grinning. Zara allowed herself a small smile. "Set a course for the Accord's central station. Let's show them what humanity can do." As the Resolute accelerated into the void, the crew couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. They had taken the galaxy's garbage and turned it into a symbol of defiance. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. That would be their first mistake. When the Resolute emerged from its maiden voyage unscathed, the crew celebrated. But Zara Malik knew the real challenge had just begun. They had taken a junk ship and made it functional, but that wasn't enough. They weren't just repairing a starship. They were building humanity's future. On Earth, news of the Resolute's transformation spread like wildfire. Governments, corporations, and citizens clamored to support the project. Resources flowed into the orbital dry dock, and Earth's most brilliant minds volunteered to help. "This isn't just a ship anymore," Zara said during a briefing with her senior staff. "It's a symbol of what humanity can achieve when we work together. And we're not stopping here." Her words set the tone for what came next. A relentless effort to transform the Resolute from a barely functioning vessel into a weapon that could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. The hive of Earth's ingenuity. The orbital dry dock around the Resolute became a bustling hive of activity. Thousands of engineers, scientists, and technicians worked around the clock. They came from every corner of Earth, bringing with them unique perspectives and innovative ideas. "We've never had access to alien technology like this," Mei Lin said one day, poring over a set of schematics with her team. "It's a mess, but it's also a treasure trove. If we can figure out how it works, we could revolutionize our own tech." Her enthusiasm was contagious. The engineering teams dissected every inch of the ship, cataloging its systems and reverse engineering alien components. They discovered energy conduits made from materials that didn't exist on Earth, a shielding system that defied known physics, and a propulsion system unlike anything they'd ever seen. "Most of this tech is centuries ahead of us," Mei Lin admitted during a meeting with Zara and the other department heads. "But there are gaps. It's like they stripped out the really advanced stuff before handing it to us. They underestimated us. Zara said, a determined glint in her eye. They thought we'd be too backward to understand any of it. Let's prove them wrong. Building the pulse core. The heart of the Resolute's transformation was the pulse core. It started as an idea, a weapon that could leverage humanity's strengths, ingenuity, adaptability, and sheer audacity. I'm not building a superweapon, Maylin insisted when Zara first proposed the concept. I'm building something better. The pulse core was a fusion of alien and human technology, designed to emit bursts of energy that could disable enemy ships or destroy entire fleets. It was dangerous, experimental, and completely untested. Think of it as a controlled supernova, Maylin explained to her team. If we can harness the energy without blowing ourselves up, we'll have something no one else in the galaxy can match. The work was grueling. The engineering team faced setbacks at every turn. Components that failed under stress, equations that refused to balance, and systems that stubbornly refused to integrate. This thing is going to kill us, Nico muttered one night as he soldered a critical circuit. Maybe, Maylin replied, not looking up from her work. But if it doesn't, it's going to change everything. The test. The first test of the pulse core was a make-or-break moment for the Resolute. If it worked, it would prove humanity's ability to innovate under pressure. If it failed, well, failure wasn't an option. The crew gathered in the observation deck, watching as the Resolute hovered above Earth. Zara stood at the center of the room, her hands clasped behind her back. "Are we ready?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "As ready as we'll ever be," Maylin replied from the engineering bay. "But I'll remind you, Captain, that this thing is untested. If it goes wrong—" "It won't," Zara said firmly. "Initiate the test." The pulse core activated with a low hum that quickly grew into a deafening roar. The ship shuddered as the energy built, the lights flickering wildly. "Energy levels are spiking," Maylin reported, her voice tense. "We're at 90% capacity, 95%, 100%. Stabilizing." The hum reached a crescendo and then, with a brilliant flash of light, the pulse core discharged. A wave of energy rippled out from the Resolute, illuminating the dark void of space. "It worked," someone shouted. "It's beautiful," Maylin whispered, staring at the readouts. "The output is even higher than we projected. This thing could disable an entire fleet." Zara allowed herself a small smile. "Then let's hope we never have to use it. But if we do, they won't know what hit them." The new crew. As the Resolute evolved, so did its crew. Zara recruited the best and brightest from Earth's armed forces, scientific community, and private sector. "We're not just building a ship," she told them during their first briefing. "We're building a team, a family. Out here, we're all we've got." The new recruits brought fresh energy to the project. They trained tirelessly, learning to operate the ship's hybrid systems and mastering its new capabilities. They were scientists, soldiers, and dreamers, united by a common goal: to prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. "Why do you think they gave us this ship?" one of the recruits, a young engineer named Ravi, asked during a break. "Because they thought we'd fail," Zara replied. "They didn't count on our resilience. They didn't count on you." The decoy plan. Zara's strategy for the Resolute relied on one key factor: deception. "They still think this is a junk ship," she said during a strategy meeting. "Let's keep it that way. The worse it looks, the more they'll underestimate us." The crew worked to maintain the ship's battered exterior, carefully disguising its upgrades. They even programmed deliberate malfunctions into the Resolute systems to make it appear unreliable. "It's like we're building a wolf in sheep's clothing," Nico said, grinning as he adjusted a deliberately faulty control panel. "That's the idea," Zara replied. The final countdown. 6 months after the Resolute had been handed over, it was ready. The crew stood assembled in the hangar bay, their faces a mix of pride and anticipation. "This ship isn't just a symbol," Zara said, addressing them. "It's a weapon, a warning, a declaration to the galaxy that humanity won't be underestimated again. You've done the impossible, And now it's time to show them what we're capable of. The crew erupted into cheers, their voices echoing through the ship. As the Resolute prepared to leave Earth's orbit, Zara took one last look at the planet below. "This is for all of us," she murmured. "Let's make them remember the name Resolute." The engines roared to life, and the ship surged forward, its battered exterior hiding the unstoppable force within. The galaxy would never see it coming. The Galactic Accord Central Station was a masterpiece of alien engineering, a massive, orbiting hub that glittered like a jewel against the backdrop of a distant nebula. Spanning miles in diameter, it housed representatives from hundreds of civilizations, each one vastly more advanced than humanity. It was here that humanity's worth as a galactic member would be judged. The Resolute arrived on schedule, its battered exterior earning amused glances from dock workers and other Starship crews. To them, it was a relic, a clunky, primitive vessel barely capable of flight. Inside, Zara Malik stood on the bridge, her crew buzzing around her. Though outwardly calm, her heart raced. They weren't just visiting the station. They were staging a demonstration, one that would remind the galaxy why humans were not to be underestimated. "Docking complete," Nico announced, his voice breaking the tense silence. "Good," Zara replied. "Team, you know your roles. Stick to the plan." The Accord meeting. The council chamber of the Galactic Accord was enormous, with tiers of seating that stretched upward into the ceiling, where floating platforms carried the representatives of species too large, too small, or too aquatic to sit with the others. The Myvar ambassador, with her shimmering wings and disdainful smirk, presided over the day's proceedings. "Ah, the humans," she said when Zara and her delegation entered the chamber. Her tone was sweet, but the derision was clear. "I hope you've had a chance to admire the Resolute, a fine vessel for a species as inexperienced as yours." Zara ignored the bait, stepping forward with her head held high. "On behalf of humanity, I thank the Accord for this opportunity. The Resolute has indeed proven enlightening." The room erupted in soft laughter, and Zara's fists clenched. She had to stay calm, had to stick to the plan. The Myvar ambassador gestured toward her. "And what, exactly, have you done with this gift? I assume you've struggled to keep it running. Perhaps you require assistance." Zara smiled. "Coldly, we've made a few adjustments. Would you care for a demonstration?" The warning. The Myvar ambassador's laughter faltered. "A demonstration of what?" "Of what humanity is capable of," Zara replied. Her voice carried a steely edge that silenced the room. "You handed us a junk ship and expected us to fail. Instead, we've turned it into something extraordinary." A murmur rippled through the chamber, curiosity replacing mockery. Zara raised her voice. "Activate the display." Back on the Resolute, Mei Lin and her team executed Zara's orders. A holographic projection materialized in the center of the chamber, showing the ship in all its battered glory. The image zoomed in on the ship's systems, reactor, engines, and finally the pulse core. "This is the heart of the Resolute," Zara said, pointing to the glowing sphere at the center of the projection. "We call it the pulse core. It's a fusion of alien and human technology, capable of emitting an energy wave powerful enough to disable entire fleets or destroy planetary installations." Gasps filled the room. The Myvar ambassador stood, her wings trembling. "This is a violation of Accord regulations. You're developing a superweapon." Zara didn't flinch. "Humanity is not yet bound by Accord laws. You handed us this ship and gave us no guidance, no rules, and no expectations beyond failure. We adapted. We survived. And now, we're showing you what we built. The Myvar retaliation." The Myvar ambassador wasn't about to let humanity's audacity go unchecked. "This is unacceptable. The humans are a threat to galactic peace," she declared. "Their so-called pulse core must be confiscated, and their species monitored to prevent further violations." Her declaration was met with murmurs of agreement from several representatives. Zara raised a hand, silencing the room. "You're welcome to try." The challenge hung in the air like a storm cloud. The Myvar ambassador's eyes narrowed. Very well. My fleet is stationed nearby. They will escort your ship back to Earth, where it will be dismantled. Zara smiled, a dangerous, calculated expression. I expected nothing less. The standoff. As the Resolute departed the station, a Myvar fleet appeared on their scanners. It was an intimidating display. Sleek, silver warships bristling with advanced weaponry. They quickly moved to encircle the human vessel. Captain, the Myvar fleet is hailing us, Mei Lin reported. Put them through, Zara ordered. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern face of the Myvar fleet commander. Human vessel Resolute. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your destruction. Zara stepped forward, her expression calm. Commander, I strongly advise against that course of action. The Myvar commander smirked. You're outgunned and outclassed. Surrender while you still can. Zara nodded to Mei Lin. Activate the core. The pulse. Deep within the Resolute, the pulse core began to hum. Energy surged through the ship's conduits, building to a crescendo. Core at 90%, Mei Lin reported. Ready to fire. Hold, Zara ordered. She turned back to the Myvar commander, her voice icy. This is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet or face the consequences. The commander laughed. You're bluffing. Zara didn't reply. She simply gave the order. Fire. The pulse core released its energy in a brilliant wave of light, washing over the Myvar fleet. Ships went dark as their systems failed, weapons fizzled, and engines sputtered to a halt. Within seconds, the once mighty fleet was powerless, floating aimlessly in the void. The bridge of the Resolute erupted into cheers, but Zara remained focused. She stared at the holographic display of the disabled Myvar fleet, her expression unreadable. Send a message to the Accord, she said. Inform them that humanity will defend itself and that we're ready to negotiate on equal terms. Aftermath. Back at the Galactic Accord station, the reaction to the Resolute's demonstration was swift and divided. Some species were outraged, calling for sanctions against humanity. Others were intrigued, recognizing the potential value of an alliance with a species capable of such ingenuity. In the council chamber, Zara faced the Myvar ambassador once more. This time, there was no laughter. You've made your point, the ambassador admitted reluctantly, but this stunt will have consequences. Zara met her gaze without flinching. The only consequence will be that humanity is no longer underestimated. We didn't come here to conquer. We came here to survive. And now, you know we'll do whatever it takes to ensure that. The room fell silent, the weight of Zara's words hanging heavily in the air. Humanity ascendant. The Resolute returned to Earth as a hero's welcome awaited the crew. The ship had gone from a symbol of mockery to a beacon of hope. This is just the beginning, Zara said during a press conference. Humanity has proven its resilience, its ingenuity, and its determination. The galaxy knows our name now, and they'll think twice before challenging us again. As the crew of the Resolute celebrated their victory, Zara knew their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, but humanity had taken its first step into the stars, and they weren't turning back. The Resolute was no longer just a ship. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The Resolute's success catapulted humanity into the galactic spotlight, earning both allies and enemies. While some species marveled at the ingenuity of Earth's people, others seethed with resentment. The Myvar, humiliated by their fleet's defeat, spearheaded an alliance of hostile civilizations determined to suppress this new, unpredictable force. But it wasn't just external threats that loomed over humanity's future within Earth's leadership. Debates raged over whether they should wield the Resolute as a deterrent or dismantle it to avoid escalating tensions. Zara Malik, however, had no intention of standing down. This ship represents more than a weapon, Zara said during a meeting with Earth's political leaders. It's proof that humanity can stand among the stars on equal footing. If we back down now, we'll lose everything we've fought for. Her words convinced some, but not all. Even as the Resolute underwent further upgrades, factions on Earth began to question whether their bold defiance of the galaxy's superpowers was wise. The shadow in the stars. Months after their triumphant return, a chilling discovery shattered any illusion of security. The Resolute, patrolling the borders of Earth's new space territories, encountered something no one expected: a derelict alien fleet. The ships were massive, ancient, and unlike anything cataloged by the Galactic Accord. Their hulls were scorched, their systems offline, and their interiors eerily empty. Initial scans suggested they belonged to a long-dead civilization, but there was one troubling detail. These ships weren't destroyed by time, Mei Lin said, analyzing the data in the Resolute's lab. They were obliterated in combat. Whatever did this was powerful, far beyond anything we've encountered. The implications were clear. Somewhere in the galaxy, a force existed that even the Myvar and other advanced civilizations feared. Uneasy alliances. The discovery of the derelict fleet sent shockwaves through the Galactic Accord. Species that had dismissed humanity suddenly found themselves seeking their assistance, hoping to study the Resolute's advanced systems and defenses. It's ironic, Zara said during a briefing with her crew. They underestimated us, and now they need us. The Myvar ambassador, forced to swallow her pride, extended an olive branch. The Accord proposes a joint investigation, she said during a holographic meeting. The Myvar will lead, of course, but your unique perspective could be valuable. Zara's response was cold but professional. Humanity will cooperate on equal terms. We're not following anyone's lead. Despite the tense alliance, Zara understood the stakes. Whatever had destroyed the ancient fleet could easily do the same to Earth and its newfound allies. The hunt. The Resolute led a small task force of ships into the uncharted regions where the derelict fleet had been found. Among the accompanying vessels were Myvar warships, sleek and imposing, and smaller craft from other species, each bringing unique technologies to the mission. We're not just hunting ghosts, Mei Lin warned as the fleet ventured deeper into the void. Whoever or whatever did this might still be out there. Days turned into weeks as the task force combed the sector, piecing together fragments of the ancient fleet's last battle. They found more derelicts, each one bearing the same scars. Weapons powerful enough to pierce shields and armor with ease. It's like they didn't stand a chance, Nico muttered during one grim briefing. They didn't, Zara replied. And we need to make sure we're not next. First contact. The breakthrough came when the fleet's sensors detected a faint energy signature emanating from a nearby star system. The task force approached cautiously, their ships on high alert. What they found was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Orbiting a dying star was a massive construct, a station the size of a small moon. It pulsed with energy, its design alien even by galactic standards. Around it floated remnants of the ancient fleet, their shattered hulls drifting in silent testimony to the station's power. This isn't just a weapon, Mei Lin said, her voice shaking. It's a sentinel, a guardian of something. Before the task force could investigate further, the station came to life. Beams of light shot out from its core, scanning the fleet. A deep, resonant voice echoed across all frequencies, speaking in a language no one recognized. Translation protocols are failing, Mei Lin reported, her hands flying over the controls. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. The message repeated, and then the station's weapons activated. The battle. The Sentinel station unleashed a barrage of energy beams that sliced through space with deadly precision. The Myvar warships returned fire, their advanced weaponry lighting up the void, but their attacks barely scratched the station's surface. We're outmatched, the Myvar fleet commander shouted over the comms. Not yet, Zara replied, her voice steady. Mei Lin, bring the pulse core online. Nico, focus all shields forward. We're going in. The Resolute charged toward the station, its pulse core building energy. The station's weapons targeted them, but the Resolute shields, reinforced with alien technology, absorbed the blows. Core at 95%, Mei Lin called out. Ready to fire. Hold steady, Zara ordered. She waited until they were within striking range, then gave the command. Fire. The pulse core unleashed its energy in a concentrated blast, striking the station's core. The explosion was blinding, and when the light faded, the station was silent. Status? Zara demanded. Energy readings are dropping, Mei Lin reported. We did it. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Zara remained focused. Recover all data from the station. We need to know what we're dealing with. The truth revealed. The data recovered from the station painted a chilling picture. The construct wasn't just a weapon. It was part of a network designed to contain a far greater threat, an ancient, galaxy-spanning force known only as the Scourge. The Scourge isn't a species, Mei Lin explained during a briefing. It's an existential threat, a swarm of autonomous machines programmed to annihilate organic life. This station was one of many designed to keep them contained. And we just destroyed it, Nico said grimly. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. By disabling the Sentinel station, the task force had inadvertently weakened the galaxy's defenses against the Scourge. We need to warn the Accord, Zara said. This isn't just humanity's fight. It's everyone's. A new mission. The Resolute returned to the Accord with the grim news. For the first time, the fractured coalition of species found themselves united by a common enemy. We'll need every resource, every mind, and every ounce of courage to face this threat, Zara said during an emergency summit. Humanity has already proven its worth. Now we'll prove our resolve. The Accord voted unanimously to prepare for war. The Resolute became the centerpiece of a new fleet, its hybrid technology serving as a blueprint for future vessels. As the galaxy braced for the Scourge's arrival, Zara stood on the bridge of her ship, her crew ready and determined. This isn't just about survival anymore, she said. It's about ensuring the galaxy's future, and humanity will lead the charge. With that, the Resolute set out once more, not as a junk starship, but as the spearhead of an unstoppable coalition.